If you haven't been following along, I have been on a mission to fix my RB Swap 240SX by only doing side hustles. But we've been on a bit of a side quest. I bought this EK Civic hatchback for only 300 bucks. Originally, I got this car as a quick flip. I was gonna buy it, try to make some money on it so I could fix the 240SX. But it turns out the EK hatch is one of my favorite cars, or favorite Hondas of all time. And I ended up deciding to keep it because I couldn't sell it. We just kept finding good deals after good deals. So I picked up a motor and manual transmission for only 280 bucks, and we spent the last month trying to swap it in. And yes, I said a month. We're already kind of starting the video out with a bang. We got most of the manual swap done and cut a big hole in the tunnel, which was honestly kind of fun. And secondly, we are already up $250 from the last video. So I went and helped a guy move some stuff. He's the same guy that gave me a bunch of free items about 2 videos back that I resold. Shout out Cody, he's a cool dude. He helped me out a lot. Made 200 bucks there, and then also sold some Yada parts and made 50 bucks. So we're already up some money. We're sitting at 780 bucks. I messed up the math last video. I don't really know where I went wrong. We're at 780 and we're already halfway back to our goal for the 240SX. So the issue that I'm having now is I'm gonna have to buy some nuts and bolts so they can actually bolt into here. Well, the ones I have don't have any nuts, so I'm gonna have to run to the store for that. But if I'm gonna go to the store, I wanna get everything that I need to get in one run. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap all the motor parts that I need to swap off the old motor onto the new one. So that way I go to the store, get all the fluids, get everything I need to go, one trip, we're done. So if you guys remember from last video, the new motor we picked up was turbo, so we did take a pretty decent gamble on it, but it's got the turbo manifold and it's got the oil tap feed in the oil pan. So we got to take the header and the oil pan off of the old motor over there. On this motor, we have a aftermarket header, so hopefully it'll make this one sound pretty decent. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh well, I just stripped the bolt to the header, so that made a easy job 10 times more difficult. So hopefully I can find a way to get this thing off. We'll see. I don't know. Bunch of crap. Well, I definitely got it off, but it probably wasn't the best way. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm taking the Miata to a drift event this upcoming weekend, which will be September 17th. Garbage. Well, I decided to clean the oil pan, and that might have been a mistake because I spent probably the last 3 or 4 hours trying to clean this thing. There was a crap ton of metal shavings. I'll pop a clip in right here. That was a small piece that came out of it. There were some enormous pieces of metal that came out of this pan. And not only that, whenever I went to remove the gasket, it broke apart every single piece all the way through, and there was so much gasket stuck on there. I ended up having to take a wire wheel to it. Probably screwed up the surface. I don't even care at this point. If it leaks, it leaks. I do care, but it's just been annoying. This is how it's looking. I got the surface pretty much cleaned. It's scratched up a bit, but there's still bits of gasket left on there, and I'm so done with it. I spent like 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours just getting the metal shavings out, and then probably another hour and a half just getting the old gasket off. So we just spent $114 on fluids. I got all the oils and stuff that I need, so hopefully we can get this thing back together. But we ended up having to come back to O'Reilly's a second time because one, they forgot my spark plugs, and two, I forgot to get an oil pan gasket. And the oil pan gasket was another $28, so 114 plus 28 equals this much right here. All right, we are extremely close to getting this motor in. I finally got the oil pan on, changed the oil filter. Everything's pretty much good to go with the motor, I believe. I think I still need to change the spark plugs and the distributor, but that ain't that big of a deal. Gonna clean up the engine bay a bit, but the last thing that we really need to do before we can set this motor in here is to install the shift linkage. Might not be able to see it. There's two holes right here I have to drill out so that the shift linkage could bolt up, and then I should be able to drop the motor in. It's been a long journey getting here, but I'm excited that we at least almost have the motor in, because this has been a hell of a ride. All right, before we actually drop this motor in, I need to update you guys on the sales for this video. We have made an additional $150 off of parts off of the red car. I had a guy come by and buy a bunch of interior pieces, and I just had a guy right now buy whatever the gas evaporation canister thing is. I don't know. I got 20 bucks for it, so 150 bucks, and let's go ahead and get this motor dropped in. Well guys, the motor is supported under its own weight. Finally, my light's giving out. I had a hard time with the motor mounts, but it's dark again. Ran out of daylight, only had like an hour to work on it after work. We're almost there. It's gonna take another day to work on it. Supposed to go to a concert tomorrow, Suicide Boys concert, so I guess I'll see you guys in another day. The Civic is almost officially manual. Pretty much got the shift linkage all the way in except for that little pin sticking down right there. It's called the bitch pin. And well, it's being a bitch. Also, the Suicide Boys concert was absolutely amazing.
That's who left you.
I was having issues with the bitch pin, but Poe come under there and helped me. So we figured it out, ain't that right, buddy? Poe check. Shift linkage check. Axles connected check. Last thing we really got to do under the car is to bolt up the header, and I think we're good. Then it's just plugging up the wiring harness, and we'll see what issues we run into there. Okay, well, we finished topping off the trans fluid and the oil, so that pretty much leaves us with just doing the coolant, but I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna see if I can get the oil pressure built up, and then I'm gonna see if I can just go ahead and start it. I wanna make sure the motor runs before I start like filling it up with coolant, just because I waste a lot of coolant doing that. And we also have a fire going for whatever reason. Well guys, it turns over. That's a win in my book. I still have a lot to button up. I just wanted to make sure. I don't even know what I wanted to make sure, but I just had anxiety. I turned it over for the first time, made sure it turned over. I kind of wanted to try to build up the oil pressure, which is kind of pointless because I still had a lot of other stuff I needed to do. But regardless, the fuel pump was not priming, and I was really just trying to figure out why that wasn't. So I spent the last hour on forums looking it up. It turns out the ECU I pulled off of the parts car is it's a P2P is what it says, right? P2P is a D16Y8. Y8 is the VTEC. This is not a VTEC motor. So I got a VTEC ECU and non-VTEC car. So there's a plug-in that's not plugged into the car, so I thought maybe it was fine. But anyways, wrong ECU, so I gotta find another ECU. Issue after issue after issue after issue. So we ran into the issue of having the wrong ECU, so to fix that, I bought 4 more ECUs. So what ended up happening was this guy was selling like a lot of them for like 50 bucks. 2 of them is what I need, so if one don't work, the other one will work. And then I don't even know what the other 2 are. I think the other 2 is like a VTEC version, and the other ones, I have no idea. Okay, let's test and see if this ECU will work. If the fuel pump primes, we are in good business. I'm gonna run you guys through the troubleshooting process I've been going through to try to figure out why the fuel pump has not been priming. Done a lot of forum research, and it can only be about 4 to 5 things for it to be the fuel pump not priming. 1, fuel pump is not working. Brand new fuel pump is only sat in the car, so there's no reason it shouldn't be working. 2, the ground cable for the main relay, or I think it's the main relay in the ECU, which is on the thermostat, which as you can tell is connected properly. I double checked it, triple checked it. 3rd thing would be the main relay. So the way to check that is to turn the key, see if it will click, and there's some more advanced ways to check it. The main relay wasn't kicking on. Yep. Oh my God. And that's why you take small baby steps as you're putting stuff back together, because turns out I didn't have a fuel hose connected and I got gas all over the side of the motor. So I'm gonna have to let that dry off. I'm gonna do some other stuff in the meantime, like bleed the clutch and put some coolant in it. I'm almost positive there is an aftermarket clutch in this, because this thing is like twice the weight of my Miata. Now I don't mean that it's good, but this thing's freaking heavy. All right, so I think I have everything buttoned up. The only thing I haven't done yet is put coolant in it, but I want to make sure it'll start and run good before I dump a bunch of coolant in it, because that would suck. I unplugged all the fuel injectors, so I'm gonna turn it over a couple times or enough. I'm not really sure how to gauge it. I would imagine the oil light would go away, but I don't know for sure, so we'll see. Definitely started. That definitely started. I think I need to adjust the throttle cable because that was wide open. Let me turn the throttle cable down. We'll try it again. This time might be good. We're gonna let it run. I'm gonna adjust it on the fly. So here's a real moment of truth. Well, we did it, boys. We got the motor back together and we got it running. Now, it's definitely not perfect. We still have to put the air box on, probably fix some of the vacuum problems that we're having, at least with the idle. Exhaust leak from the header to the exhaust is an extreme exhaust leak. If you look right here, where there's no white, I'm pretty much missing half a gasket. So we got to replace the gasket on that. There's probably a million other little things we got to button up, but man, the hard part is out of the way and the rest is just small stuff. Gotta be the water pump because the lower radiator hose is not getting any coolant.